Alex, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you,
This
Anna.
is I think, a very hot topic
Yes.
now. So it's going to be exciting for us and the public
Absolutely.
to hear about it. Tell us a little bit more how you started in this business.
So first and foremost, thank you, Anna, for allowing me to come in on your podcast. I love this area. I love the background. I love everything about it. So thank you once again for allowing me to be here. I'm Alex Otero. I'm a branch manager with a mortgage company called Paramount Residential Mortgage Group, or PRMG. We're a nationwide top 10 direct lender. We specialize only in mortgages for purchasing and refinancing. I'm a franchise owner of PRMG in the Pembroke Pines location. Thank God my office is one of the top 10 offices in the country, and basically the reason why is because we always want to help our realtor partners, our clients, making sure that they get into their home, but more importantly, to make sure it's a great process, the communication, everything. So I've been doing it over 20 years now, and it's definitely, you're always mastering each year that goes by. You do something better. So thank God my team and I, we've gotten to a point where we're getting top-notch surveys, a lot of referrals back because people love how we operate. And one of the main reasons is because communication, 7 days a week, because they're not buying a car, they're not buying furniture, you're buying a home.
Right.
So it's one of the biggest purchases most people have. So it's one of those things that we just want to make sure that they have a great experience, not just, of course, you're approved, but because you're approved, okay, great, but how's it going to be the experience? Are you going to know what's going on every step of the way? When it comes down to the appraisal, the inspections, the loan commitment, the title, all those things play a part. So you want to make sure you're with a team that's going to be able to guide you throughout that process. I got started about 20 years ago. I've been in sales for over 25 years. Oh, wow. Someone told me, hey, Alex, you might be doing good in mortgages. Why don't you try this out? I said, okay. So I got part of the mortgage industry back in 2003, and it was great. I hit it off in a month. I'm like, wait, I'm pretty good at this. And then unfortunately 2008 came, so we had the recession. So I kind of stepped away. I took that time to actually go and get my degree. So I have my master's degree in business. So I have my MBA from FIU. And I started, I kind of exited the mortgage industry for some time. And then when the market started coming back in 2013, 2014, I got my license and I started my journey again. And sure enough, about 12 years later, I've been doing great, thank God. And more importantly, this time around, it's a lot cleaner and smoother because of all the regulations. So it's a lot easier, if you will, to get people approved, and you don't have to worry about these, challenging type loans, no docs and subprime loans, if you will. So it's been great in that capacity. So one of the best part is continually meet realtors and referral partners, and of course clients, to be able to get them to the house.
Right, and one of what you just mentioned, though, when people say, "Oh no, this is going to be 2008 all over again," that's exactly why it's not, because there's so many more regulations. The mortgage industry now works completely different.
Yes.
So it's not as easy as it was before, just to get
Exactly.
2 or 3 loans on a person that doesn't even have any income.
Exactly. I didn't even have a license back then. We didn't need it. Now you need to have a license. You have to have a state and a federal license to make sure that you could be able to talk about mortgages, respectively, and be able to educate and guide the people in the right path. So yeah, absolutely. It's great.
Exactly. And how do you see now?
So here's my whole thing, and every time I do these interviews and I stand in front of 20, 40, 80, 150 realtors, I always say the same thing. Every single day is a great day to buy a home, no matter what, period. I don't care if the rates are 8% or the rates are 4%. The best time to always buy a home is today. The reason why is because it's an asset. It's going to put you in a better position. Now, yeah, let's say you didn't get the best rate because, the house, you like the house, but the rates are too high. Don't let the rate hold you back, because you could always refinance, right? You could always refinance, drop that rate later on, but the house might not be at the same value. So one thing I always talk about my realtors and my educated partners is basically stating that buy the house now, gain the capital that you could be able to gain, and then if that rate is too high, when the rates do drop, refinance. But the best part about it is you're going to have the equity that time. So I'll give you an example. I always go back to obviously the COVID years, right? Because that was the first time that's ever happened. Rates have never been 2-3%. So for me, that was an eye-opener on how many people just obviously got off their chairs and I want to buy a house now, right? Because the rates are low. So definitely drove the market a lot higher. A lot of people went out and wanted to buy. But what they do, they were buying properties 30, 50. I even had a client pay $100,000 over appraised value, meaning the house was appraised at $500,000. They were selling it maybe for $520,000. They ended up buying it for $600,000. They got a 2.3% rate, but they spent $100,000 more than they should have, right? So you're going to lose at some point in that aspect. That's why I tell clients, don't worry if the rates are high. Buy now, because especially in this market. So we're going to talk about now, like fast forward to now. I would tell everybody, of course, buy right now, because it's giving more of an opportunity, because values are not overinflated. Obviously, there's not a big demand. So you're not having 100 buyers to one property. Now you have, sadly, unfortunately, 10 properties for sale for 2 buyers, right? So as a buyer, you have more opportunities to be able to purchase and negotiate. So now is the best time, if anything else, to be able to purchase. So for me, it's always every day. Buy a house, no matter what where your position is. If you're ready to buy a house, you have the credit, you have the income, and you have the down payment and closing costs, buy. Don't worry about the rate. Don't worry about anything. Just buy, and obviously get with a good lender that's going to be able to assist you in the right path.
No, and the best time to buy was yesterday. The next time is today.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Always. I bought my first house in 2000 and we had 9% rate. I didn't even think about the rate. I'm like, I need to buy a house. I need to buy a house. That's it.
Yeah, my landlord just kicked me out. I need to buy.
Exactly.
I'm not going to really care about the rate.
Exactly.
Once again, you worry about the rate down the road. And it's funny you said that. If obviously when people educate themselves and they really see, I have a client, 6% is too high. I always say, compared to what?
Exactly.
You have to say compared to what, because if you're comparing it to COVID years, yeah, it's going to be high. But unfortunately, we have to have a pandemic for that to happen. World War III would have to happen. The market would have to kind of crash for the federal government to be able to say, okay, we're going to reduce.
I'd rather have 6%.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, thank you. Exactly. I'd rather have 6% than have a war. And at the end of the day, though, if you look at the last 40 years, historically recorded, the average interest rate for a 30-year conventional mortgage is actually a 7.5%. That was the average rate, because they've been in 9%, 14%, 8%, 3%. So all those kind of, when you average it out over 40 years, it's 7.5%. So those who are getting a 6%, 6.5%, it's great.
Right.
It's really fun.
And what really matters today, actually, I was volunteering at a school, and actually the teacher was talking to me while the kids were coming, like, I don't know if I can buy a house. I said, you never know. The first time I bought a house, I was renting, and I was going to have a child, so I needed a bigger house, and I was going to rent a bigger house. And a realtor told me, why don't you buy? I said, no, I can't. And then they say, go with a lender, sit down, because you never know. And I bought a house, a tiny house, but in the house that I wanted, in the area that I wanted, and it didn't even cross my mind to buy at that moment. And I told this person today the same thing. It's like, you think you can buy, talk to a lender.
Talk to a lender. Let me tell you, there's so many people right now living in their home because of that sentence, talk to a lender. Because you don't know. A lot of people think, I'm renting, this is all I could do, this is all, I'm not going to be able to. Because I still have people thinking that they have to put 20% down. A lot of people actually think right now, to buy a house, they have to put 20% down. Even as a first-time home buyer, not even a first-time home buyer, they still think they have to put 20%. So of course, they don't even question about if they can buy a house right now. And then, of course, when they finally say, okay, I'll talk to a lender, and then I say, no, I can get you in a house with 3% down or 5% down. Wait a minute, I have that. I could buy right now. And then we get into all that. So for me, that's why I love real estate. That's why I love mortgages and just that phone call to say, hey, you're approved, Dan. Anna, you're approved. Start shopping. I'm going to send you the approval letter to you and your realtor. Have a good time, start shopping, because that's when the real fun begins, right? Because now you have to go in different people's houses and see, which property you like and everything. But that's the best part. But at the end of the day, knowing where you stand is better because you have direction. I even tell clients at the beginning of my calls, at the end of this call, I'm hoping I'm going to give you an approval. But even if I don't, I'm still going to give you the path to be approved. What are you going to have to do to get approved either next week, next month, or 6 months down the road? You're going to have to do X, Y, and Z, whether with your credit, with your income, or with your assets. You're going to have to do this. But when they leave my phone call, they're going to leave with a plan. They execute the plan, great. If they don't, that's fine. At least they got the information they needed to know what they have to do to get it, to be able to buy a property. And that's what I always leave. And then I talk to the realtor. Hey, this is what the client has to do. Once they do this, we'll get them into a property. And that's the most important part. But just getting the information, that's the first step.
Of course. And that's the very, very first step. Like, I don't take anybody, not even to see a house, before they're pre-approved.
Thank you.
Why?
Yes.
Why? It's okay. It's a waste of time for us, but it doesn't matter. The most important thing is that they get their hopes up for a $50,000 home, and then they see they can't afford more than $300 or $400.
So, Ann, I got to tell you this. My nightmare for realtors is that they drive around, and sadly, it's a nightmare, but it's also have happened, unfortunately. I talked to a realtor, she's like, Alex, I've had this client that was approved for some other bank, 3 months looking for a property. They were very specific. We went to at least 40 to 50 houses almost every single weekend at open houses and everything like that. Finally, they found the house. The association allowed it. My husband's work van. The price is right. The association location is perfect. Okay, great. And then they go to the bank and they were never approved. So imagine 3 months of gas, time, energy, negotiating, contracts, writing, and they were never approved. That's like my nightmare for realtors. And I'll be very forthcoming. My first client is my realtor. My second client, of course, is the buyer. Because for me, the realtor is the most important part because you guys are the ones that's going to go out looking for that property, negotiate and everything. So for me to not do my due diligence to make sure that that client is qualified is a disservice to everybody involved. That's why those people who are in my position should always take it to heart that put yourself in that realtor, that buyer's position. You told them they're approved. You supposedly have verified everything. And then they finally get a house. They're finally under contract. They finally got everything done. And then they find out they're not approved. That has to be the most scariest and unforgettable thing somebody could go through. And then guess what that does? That turns the buyer away.
Of course.
That buyer says, I'm not dealing with this. I'm going to go keep renting. And what happens? You lose a client. The buyer loses the ambition and want to actually go and buy a home. And it's just a sad situation. So the reason why my team and I are very, very meticulous in verifying income, verifying assets, verifying credit, making sure that we get that client approved and we run even the underwriting because we're a direct lender. So we have the underwriting system. So I could confirm that the underwriting system says yes. So that's when the underwriting system says yes, go ahead. You're good to go. Enjoy the property. And even to that point, once you find the property, I even say, send me the address before you even make an offer. I do that, and a lot of lenders don't do that. For whatever reason, I do it because I don't want you to waste time. I don't want my buyer to waste time. Because I could give somebody a general approval of $500,000, but that's based on estimated insurance, estimated taxes, estimated association fees. Because until you find a property, we won't know. And all we can do is kind of estimate based on that purchase price or the area, what have you. So once the client and the realtor find the property and they want to make an offer on a house, before they make the offer, send me the address. I don't care if it's Sunday. I don't care if it's Christmas. I don't care if it's New Year's Eve. Send it to me. My team and I will run it. It takes us 5-10 minutes. We'll run it. We'll look at the property taxes for that specific property, the insurance. We kind of estimate that because until you do inspections, we won't know. And then obviously the HOA. We call the client. Hey, Anna, this property that you guys like, you went to go see, your payment's going to be X and your cash to close is going to be Y. Oh, perfect. So now you have confidence going into that offer, submitting that offer to seller, and then knowing the buyer already said yes to the payment and already said yes to the cash to close. And that for me is a solid offer. Then I take it a step further. I call the listing agent. And I let the listing agent know, I let the listing agent know how well qualified my buyer is. And then I always start off with this. You know, an approval is only as good as the person writing it. Because anybody could give an approval.
Exactly.
Was it verified? Was it analyzed? Was it really scrutinized? Was it really good? So that's the first thing I start off with the listing agents, and I introduce myself. Then of course I tell them my background. Trust me, I don't like Alex knows. I don't like to boast. I'm but I do have my credentials, right? I do have, thank God, I've gotten a lot of awards, and National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, NARAP, top 250 of the whole entire country. Wow. It's because of the production, and I really give that to my team, because my team, my back office, everybody plays a huge part in the success that we have overall, but it's because we put the client and realtor first. And when you have that in mind, and you do that first, everything just falls into play, period. Everything falls into play. Because when you have the client and the realtor in mind first, and knowing that we're walking in their shoes, because we know what the realtor has to go through to go to properties, to make offers, to negotiate, to do everything, you want to make sure your client has a good offer and a good approval to make sure they can move forward.
Exactly.
So for me, that's one of the highlights of what we do to make sure we get that part done. And that's why I call the listing agent, and I let them know how well we are, who we are, and more importantly, they're going to have communication 7 days a week. I have listing agents call me on a Sunday. I pick up the call. I can't believe you actually picked up. Yeah, I told you I was going to pick up. Anything you need, we're under contract. I want to make sure you're confident with everything going forward. And they love that. And of course, it becomes reciprocal, right? Because I do so well. What do they end up doing? Alex, I got another client for you.
Of course.
Alex, I got another client for you. So, and it helps out. And one thing I'm very blessed to always say is I'm 100% referral. I started my business over 10 years ago with one transaction. It was my brother's. I got my license. I don't even know how I got my license. I'm very good at it. I got my master's degree. I still don't know how I got that, but studied, did what I do. But the state and the federal, I took it. I almost failed basically the last time, but I barely passed. I got it. So, okay, I got my license. Now what do I do? You know, because back in 2003, I would just call off a list and clients who wanted to refinance. This was, you know, you had to network, talk to realtors, talk to clients, you know, to kind of get the business going and referrals. So the first client I had was my brother. He wanted to buy a house. And he just found the realtor, I don't know, you know, through a website or what have you, just somebody that came in, and then they were looking for properties. They found the property in the Crossings, and they found the property. So obviously they know the listing agent, and they said, Alex, you know, obviously I want you to do a loan. So I already qualified my brother. I did everything. Long story short, I did such a great job in that transaction. From the buyer's realtor, my brother's realtor, and the listing agent, from them two is where I'm at right now, doing on average $40 million a year, over 110 loans on our own, just with my office only, on an annual basis, because it became so reciprocal on referrals. Because then they referred me other clients, and then the listing agent referred me clients, and then I started meeting those realtors, started meeting those realtors and those clients and those realtors, and it just became into a tumbleweed of positivity, opportunity, and thank God, blessings of a lot of business coming in and helping a lot of people.
Maintaining that level. Just like us, mortgage brokers, there's a whole bunch.
Yeah.
But, you know, only, I don't know, the top 1% works. It's the same with realtors. Oh, no, you know, there's a dime a dozen. Yes, but how many, like you said, pick up the phone all the time? I hate when you call and they don't even, they have a house for sale, the listing agent, they don't give you showings. How are you going to sell it?
How are you going to sell a house? Exactly. Yeah, I'm not available this weekend. Oh, wait a minute, I'm trying to buy your house.
Right, I have to know the owners are away. I can't show it until the end of the month. I'm like, why list it then?
Exactly. I've run into those as well. And that's why, and Alex even knows, you know, I'm on a cruise ship and I pick up my call. And listen, I do that. Don't get me wrong. My wife and my kids, they've gotten used to it. You know, it was hard at the beginning. But I said, listen, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all the way in, you know, because I know what it takes, because I'm on the other side of that stick too. I was a consumer. I bought a house. It's nerve wracking. Right. It's 30 days of not knowing. And you're already fantasized about living in that house. You went into the first time. You saw your kids playing in the pool. You saw your husband here, your wife there, you know, the neighborhood. And I'm sure they even drove by a couple times at night. Hey guys, this might be our house. And then you're gonna have those questions throughout the loan process. So to not answer those questions on a Saturday afternoon that it just hit, yeah, you could wait till Monday or Tuesday. But I said, no, I'll pick up your call. Because for me to answer a 5-minute call, a 5-minute question, 2-minute question, puts their mind at ease and they feel more confident. And it means the world for that. So that's why I do it. I've been in overseas, I've been all over, and I just pick up my call. And even if I don't, I've learned to obviously just call forward and my team picks up. So someone's gonna pick up.
Oh, good.
So it's either gonna me or my team, but obviously as I've grown, I definitely wanna delegate that, but no matter what, someone's gonna pick up the call and we're gonna answer your question, period.
I love when I'm in the listing agent side. I love when the brokers call me and introduce themselves and say anything you need.
Yeah.
Because even at least you know that what's going on with the loan. Not that in the last day they say, oh no, the loan was not approved, and you knew nothing of any problem.
I've had stories where I didn't hear from the lender for 30 days, and at the end they said they weren't approved. What? It's like, how do people? It's like, why even lend? Why even be in the business if you're gonna act like that? It doesn't make any sense. Like I said, you're not selling cars. You're not selling furniture. You're buying a home. These people are going through their life savings. They worked on their credit to get their credit higher. They earn more money. They worked hard and everything. So you want to treat it as such. You want to put them in a position where they're going to be number one on everybody's list to make sure that they get the property. And that's why you're always attentive. Right now, all the loans I have going on right now, picking up, doing everything I have to make sure. I have a client right now, the appraisal link just went out. He said, oh, thanks, Alex. He was waiting to pay for the appraisal because he wants to get it going right away. So I made sure he knew when to go in and pay for the appraisal because he's very adamant about getting the property right away. So, I always adapt to what the clients are looking for. So I myself, and that's why I'm very personable with it. There's a lot of lenders, obviously, and I'm not a broker. I am a direct lender, and I think that shows better presence only in the aspect that I can literally close a loan in 8 days. I just did it actually 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. So here we go. I'll give you this quick story. And I did a whole AI thing on it. So it was funny. But the only reason why is, if I needed to, I could do it. But one of my referral partner realtors, she referred a client back April 1st. She even sends me, I have the text here, April 1st. Alex, this person's going to give you a call. She gives me her name. Okay, perfect. I don't ask for anything. If they call me, great. If they don't, they don't. So 3 weeks went by. I get a call while I'm in the Bahamas. I'm in the president's cabinet for my company. We're celebrating top producers and everything like that. I'm in there and I get a call and they're like, gave his name out, John Smith. This person referred me your information and I'm in a situation right now. I go, what happened? He goes, well, I went with this depository bank. I'm not gonna mention who it is, but depository, the depository of the world. And they denied him at the last second. he has $40,000 they're going to lose. The seller already says if you don't close by the 28th of April, you lose 40 grand because their loan commitment had already passed.
Right.
And of course, that banker didn't do their job and give them the loan commitment at the time or deny them at the time, right? I said, all right, let me take the application. I took the application. I ran the whole scenario. I said, okay, it's April 21 or April 22. I said, all right, I can get this done for you. Here are the numbers, but you're going to have to go on this ride with me all the way to the closing. He says, all right, let's go. So I told him exactly what we had to do. I paid for the rush appraisal. I talked to the title company, make sure they're going to be ready. I got to make sure the survey was done. I made sure they already done inspection, so I was already getting insurance quotes and everything. Long story short, 8 days later, we closed. Saved $40,000, happy.
What?
And we got it done. And the reason is because as a direct lender, I could literally go in the back office to my processor, to my operations, and say, underwriter, I need to take this file and put it to the top because this is what's going on, this is what needs to happen, and my team understands the assignment. The assignment is get them to closing. And if there's exceptions we have to get done to do that, we're going to do that. And sure enough, my team and I were the hero in that aspect of being able to get him and save him $40,000. And he was able to move into his house. And he's now currently living in his home. And I love those type of stories because they help out, understand that what it takes for us to get those people there, because it's not easy. It wasn't,
right.
Especially me being overseas, it wasn't easy, but we got it done. And that's why I praise my back office. I praise my team, Giselle, Jessica, Antonia, Ilya, I throw them out. Obviously, they're phenomenal. Alex Mendez, they're all phenomenal, and they understand how I operate and my desire to make sure we get the job done, but in a best way. And that's communication and being direct.
That's amazing. Well, now that you mentioned appraisals, the appraisals are coming out better than they used to.
Yeah, I mean, they're either coming at me. Realtors nowadays are really doing a very good job on pricing them out. I haven't really seen a lot. I would say out of, I always do averages, right? So out of, let's say 5, I would say 4 come in at value or a little bit more. Maybe 1 comes in under value. But yeah, they're doing really good right now. And values are holding up. Values are definitely holding up. That's one of the main highlights. Values are definitely holding up. Obviously there's one occasion a value came in 150,000 less. Obviously, I don't know what the listing agent was thinking. So
and the buyer,
I know, right? I still challenged it. Are you sure? This and that, and the comps. And I guess it's one of those things. Your house is on this side of the street, but the comparables they're going off are on this side of the street, and this side of the street is worth a lot more than this side of the street. So the listing agent didn't do in that aspect, and that's okay too. We renegotiated. We still got a deal done. But at the end of the day, some things like that could every once in a blue moon happen. But at the end of it, values are coming in pretty good with purchase price.
Yeah, and the ones that I've seen also, we haven't had an issue so far with that.
No, right?
And it also depends on the area, just like you said. One here, one street that way is a seller's market. One street this way is a buyer's market.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It is.
That's why it's so important, and we tell all the time, that you need a realtor that knows the area. I can't go to Fort Lauderdale to sell. I know nothing. I mean, I would do it, but I don't know. But
you don't know a lot. Yeah. So, you want to kind of know. Yeah, know your area, know your surroundings and everything like that, and that's where it comes down to. That's why expertise, how long you've been doing it for. I always tell clients, research me. I say, listen, you can shop me too. Don't get me wrong. I'm the only lender in town, but understand experience matters in this business.
Right.
Experience matters. And that's why I always tell clients, do your due diligence. As you're looking around, make sure you go with experience because it's going to save you in the long run.
Yes, and doing the due diligence, like you said, all the way through. I just had a agency, the poor girl, she was buying her home. She had her money counted like that. We got an offer accepted. Finally, she went and did the inspection. I didn't know the lender. It was a friend of hers or something. Yeah. And we just had a letter, and I kept asking, ask for a good faith estimate, ask for something else. And I would tell, the guy would never answer the phone for me, so I knew nothing. Then, after she did the inspection, which she already paid, and we were moving forward with the appraisal, so now finally the lender got involved. And when they finally gave her a good faith estimate, they gave her, like you said, when it's a specific address, then they knew the numbers.
Exactly.
And she said, well, I don't have that money to pay up. And so all the closing costs were sky high. Why is it so high? But it is. So she couldn't buy.
Yeah, exactly.
After already, like you said, they already saw themselves living there, everything, and they couldn't buy.
And that for me.
And then they didn't buy.
And then who knows exactly? Then they get out of the whole idea of maybe buying because, oh my God, look what I just went through. Exactly. Do I really want to go through this again? That's why it's so important to have the right lender, the right team. And that's why when I do my conferences with realtors and I go to brokers' offices and everything, I always have a team with you. Don't just, say, look, I'm the realtor, I have a title company, I have a lender, we've worked together before, we know how each other operate, and having that team, that community really helps the buyer, because at the end of the day, it's the buyer who's gonna have to go through all that, right? So we want to make sure that they have all the right information. So I always tell my clients and my realtor partners, always look at us as a team, because we're a team unity to be able to utilize, to be able to help their client out.
Everybody has to do their job to be successful.
Yes, absolutely.
Everybody.
So we'll all work together and make sure we have it happen. But no, it's a great opportunity also with clients that, especially first-time home buyers, they don't know the process, they don't know everything, so you're educating them, you're walking them through it, and they appreciate that. When you as a realtor explaining a lot of things, and me as a lender explaining a lot of the things on how it works, what to look for, what can happen, what can't happen, they feel a lot better. And that's what allows them to want to continue with the process, continue shopping, continue looking. Because remember, just because they got approved and then it's been a month looking at a house, they, offers fell through, this and that, but if they know that from the beginning, that listen, you might find a property in 3 days, you might find the property in 3 months, but keep looking, I'll keep sending you properties, we'll keep looking at it. It keeps them involved and keeps them motivated to want to continue wanting to purchase. And that's why expectations for my team and I is so important, because we set the proper expectations, because we know what can happen or what can't happen. So we set those expectations at the beginning, especially for first-time home buyers, because they've never done this before. So we make sure they have that understanding on what to look for.
Exactly. Well, talking about first-time home buyers, is Hometown Heroes coming back anytime soon?
It's on the list right now. It's in the legislative state of Florida. So for the last 4 years, they have renewed it. This will be actually the 4th year going on. We won't know until probably June or July. Last year, they let us know real late. Last year, we didn't know until like mid-July. The years prior to that, we knew already by May. So right now, it's sitting on the desk in the legislative right now, just waiting to see if they're going to replenish the funds again. Obviously, the funds are already over. And it's so funny with Hometown Heroes. I love that program because it's not like the normal down payment assistance programs with the city and the state, the city and the county, because those you got to kind of go through a lot more hurdles, applying, conferences, certifications, and everything like that. The Hometown Hero program is awesome because first and foremost, it's for first responders. So it's mainly for nurses, police, military. That for me helps them out so much. I have a client right now. I just finished closing. I'm on my 4th F-16 firefighter pilot. Yeah.
Cool.
Unfortunately, yeah, because I have a realtor. Her husband's actually an F-16 fighter pilot for the U.S. Air Force. And it's one of those scenarios where, unfortunately, because they're all moving. One's coming from Germany, another's coming from New Mexico, another's coming from Arizona. And unfortunately, they're looking to buy right when the Hometown Heroes was finishing. So I tried to get 3 of them in. I only got 1 of them in. So he got it. So he's not coming to closing with anything because he's a VA. Basically, the Hometown Hero paid for all of his closing costs. So he got his $600,000 property with no money out of pocket. So it's a great opportunity for those. If it does start, it's going to probably start again in July or August. So I always advise people, if you are a first responder, jump on it right away.
Exactly.
And the crazy thing is that the year that the state of Florida decided to just give it for everybody, as long as your business is in the state of Florida, meaning your business is paying tax and all that, they gave it. Those funds were gone in 2 months. In 2 months, they let it go. They opened it in July. No jokes. Beginning of September, gone. So that was the only year they did that. All the other years were for first responders, and it normally lasted about 10 months to 11 months, and everything. But it was so funny that year it was gone like this because, of course, everybody applied for it. So we'll see what happens this year. But hopefully they do open it up again because it's a great opportunity, especially for our first responders to be able to get. So we're looking forward to that. So we'll know hopefully June or July.
I hope so.
Know. Yeah, absolutely.
So I know you started a few years ago, but where are you originally from? From here or?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Miami, Florida.
Oh, wow. That's a unicorn.
Yeah, exactly. Mercy Hospital. Both my parents are from Colombia, Bogotá, Colombia. Sí, Bogotá, Colombia.
No tienes nada de acento.
No, mi acento es nada. Mira, okay. Yo tenía que aprender. So I had to learn Spanish. I had to learn Spanish on my own. I've understood it because my parents, of course, they would talk to me in Spanish and I would respond in English, right?
Right.
Typical,
yeah, like
right? Typical, I'm sure. Talk to them in Spanish, respond in English. So obviously understanding Spanish was always natural, second nature to me. But as I grew up and I got into business and everything like that, obviously I started having to force myself to learn el idioma, speak Spanish, and
So
how
just because you wanted, like you're.
no, I had no. Well, really, I had no choice
because you
I,
were
I also
here.
because I was here, and obviously we're in South Florida, so obviously there's a big Hispanic market. So of course I wanted to start speaking Spanish, and I tried and I forced myself. I kind of learned on my own a little bit, but my accent comes from. It's funny because imagine 25 years in sales and communications and over the phone and face to face and group meetings and everything. I've learned Portuguese. I've heard people, I should say, Portuguese, Argentino, Colombiano, Venezolano. Cada persona, every person who has their own way of speaking. So when then I start speaking Spanish, all those accents start coming out. So I'll start talking like if I'm Cuban, and then I'll switch up to Colombian, and then I'll switch up to Brazilian, then I'll switch up
that's
to.
so funny.
So then I have a person that always asks me, "Where are you from?" Because they don't know. They wouldn't know if I'm from Colombia or from Bogota or from Argentina or something. So I have a very mixed language, if you will, when I speak Spanish. I just try because I just put all the words together. So I heard them so many times that I just put them all together and it just comes out. Sometimes the Argentino sale de mí, I don't know the where, it just comes out. But yeah, so I could speak. So definitely I've spoken in front of hundreds of realtors.
Oh, you speak perfectly fluent.
Thank you. So I've been married now, thank God, 22 years.
Oh, wow, long time.
I've been with my wife for 26 years. We have 2 kids, 19 and a 16-year-old, and we just had a grandson.
Oh, wow.
So we're a grandfather. Yeah, my 19-year-old, him and his girlfriend had a child, so which is great,
Wow.
And the funny thing is, when I found out, of course, as a parent, like, oh my gosh. Then you start talking to so many people. It seems like everybody had a kid at 19. No joke. My business partner that I've known for over 20 years, I met his first daughter and everything. I just didn't know his background. He's like, yeah, I had my daughter at 19 too. I'm like, what? What do you mean you had a daughter? I didn't know that. And then I met, a good friend of mine. Yeah, it was just, I started talking to other people about it, and yeah, it's like a normal. You don't want it to be that, but it's fine. But I was just with him right now. Oh my gosh. I'm 46 years old and I'm getting to hold my grandson. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I thank God that I have that opportunity to be able to hold my grandson, and I see my son next to me, and my son's only 19, he's about to be 20 now. And just to have that ability, I'm very blessed. I'm very happy, and it's working out.
And that age doesn't tell you if it's going to work out or not.
No.
I have a cousin that had to get married at 19, and the whole family was like up in arms. It's been, I don't know, 20-something years. They had the kid. They had another kid. They're super happily married, and they've been married for 20 years.
Exactly, like
that
nothing.
doesn't say anything.
It doesn't say anything at all. So that's why when I say it proud, because at the end of the day, I don't
course.
care. My son's 19. He had a child. And it's God willing. God wanted my grandson to be here. His name is Elijah Daniel Otero, and he's just awesome, like, cute, beautiful. So we're very blessed to have him in our lives. Yeah, that's our family. Been in Miami all my life, 46 years. Thank God.
That's
I'm Miami
incredible.
native. Yeah. In Kendall, actually.
Really?
I've been in Kendall my whole entire life. I know Kendall like the back of my hand because I'm the president of an association of where I used to live. So my mom still lives there. So they were having some challenges.
You're brave.
Oh,
That's the worst job in the world.
Oh, I have no idea. No, but I'm going to give myself a pat on the back along with the board members. It was going to be a scenario where, you have the wrong management company, the wrong board of directors, everybody's going to get affected. So I got involved in that, and I'll tell you a quick story about it. I got involved in that because one day my mom gets a notice, and she says, oh my God, they're doing a special assessment for $300 more a month. I'm like, what? I'm the one helping her out and everything. So I'm like, wait, what do you mean? So then I got involved, and I went to a board meeting, and I started hearing what's going on. I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't sound right. And I didn't really like the characters and what they were saying and how they were saying it. The management company was a brand new management company. We were their first client. They were referred by some attorney that my friend attorneys didn't say too many positive things about. So the pieces didn't really start adding up. I didn't really like what was going on. So I said, all right, I kind of need to get involved. The only way I can get involved is by trying to join the board. So, I'm already on title, so I tried to join the board. All of a sudden, we had some infighting. We were on the news. It was bad because they wanted to do a special assessment for $1.5 million to 80 units, which consensus showing 60% of the unit owners are elderly. Social Security, pension. So to do a special assessment of $1.5 million, because of course you know about the 40-year recertification, so all that had to come out, because of Surfside, what took place. So this was last, 3-4 years ago. So I'm seeing everything taking place, and I'm seeing the writing on the wall. And then that whole thing with the hammocks happened. So I'm like, oh man, this is not looking good, because what obviously they were kind of, putting together was, okay, we're going to do a special assessment, which is about $2,600 a month. So imagine you have a mortgage payment, association payment. Now you got to add $2,600 more a month to your monthly payment. Who's going to pay that? So what's going to happen to that unit? They're going to get in default. They're going to go to the attorney. Attorney's going to add his fees. Then all of a sudden they're going to have a demand. Then all of a sudden that person has to get out of the property. I had a neighbor that I'd known since I was a kid had a heart attack because of it. She had to get hospitalized and everything. Thank God she's okay, but it was bad. So I hired personally an attorney, an outside attorney from the association, from everybody, to come in to look at it. We started doing a lot of the legalities for it. Long story short, because it's a very long story, at the end of it, I was able to, with a couple of board members, get the board off. We got them off. And thank God, because one young lady, there was three of them. You need a minimum of 3 to have quorum. So there was 3 of them only. She ended up approving that special assessment for $2,600, knowing it was going to affect the whole entire company, the whole entire building.
Only her?
Yeah, no. So all 3 agreed, but she agreed. Like, you could kind of tell she didn't want to. She was like kind of forced. So when she agreed, a week later she resigned. She resigned because she felt so bad and everything like that. So she resigned from the board. Because they resigned, I stepped in. And I said, here's my resume, my master's degree, I'm on my company, I've done this, I'm like, da. So they had no choice, they had to take me in. So then I came in, then I brought 2 other people with me. Then we had 3-2. So then we got the vice president, the president off. I gave the management company a little bit of time to try to see if they could fix this and everything. And once again, they caused a problem. I went and hired another management company. Our building, our association, is like a spotlight in the community, because we have all of our roofs done, building is painted, it looks brand spanking new. And the only thing it cost everybody, $270. I was able to get the loan from a bank. We did everything. And I'm very proud of that, because that was a project for about 2.5, 3 years that I couldn't sleep at night, because it wasn't just my property, my mom, it was everybody else in there. And it was a blessing in disguise, because there was nights I couldn't even sleep, because I'm thinking this is going to go south, what's going to happen. And we're able to resolve. So every time I drive to my mom's house, I always just look at everything and like, oh, so thank God. So now I'm also the vice president of my dad's building, because my parents are separated. So, and he's across the street, and he's not going through this. So I'm now entering in another one. Yeah, so I'm this. So I'm in 2 associations.
Wow.
One is the president, the other one's the vice president, and I'm literally back and forth.
But you need people like you that really
just to go in and
good.
say, just to make sure that, hey, listen, what's going on? Make this make sense to me, and that's what they weren't doing. They weren't making it make sense, and they're forcing a $1.5 million special assessment on viejitos, people that couldn't afford it. And it's like, they're not going to be able to afford it. You're doing something that's not going to be able to get paid, so you're doing it for other reasons, period. End of story. There's no way. So long story short, once again, it worked out. Thank God. So we're very happy. So that's why every time I drive in, I see this white building, beautiful, brand new roofs, everything. It's just, because we did the recertification, the structural engineer report, everything has already been done. And we just actually got the official permit from the county that we're good to go. 100%.
Congratulations.
Thank you. No, so I'm very happy about that as well. So very involved. When I talk to realtors, and that actually experience has helped me help other clients who want to buy in a condo. So I already know about special assessments, about the master insurances, how much they need to have, the requirements, being approved by Fannie Mae, the reserve requirements. So I've definitely it's been able to help me in my job and what I do, because I help a lot of realtors save a lot of time. I tell my clients too, listen, this client unfortunately is going to qualify for a condo because they only qualify for 300. There's no single family or townhouse. But the condos, they can only do 5%. So before you guys go make an offer on any condos, send me the address. Let me look up the condo with Fannie Mae to see if we can get this condo approved, or maybe it's already approved. Because I'm all about, Anna, not wasting your time.
I love that. I
don't want your time to be wasted at all.
Especially, also when you are the listing agent, like I had one in Las Olas, and I like that the lender says, let me see, because at least even I can offer,
Absolutely.
You can only buy here with 20% down or whatever.
I tell my realtors exactly, all my brokers and everything, I say the same thing. If you're the listing, meaning I have nothing to do with it, I'm just here to help you. Obviously, it's a community that we are in right now in real estate. It's a real estate community that we're in. We want to make sure we always want to help each other. Whether I'm getting something or not, it doesn't matter. I don't want you to waste time. So when I have my realtors who are listing properties, I said, listen, send me their approvals too. Any buyer that comes in, send me the approval and I'll tell you if I can find something on there. And I can see if it's real or not. And if you have a listing and it's a condo, I'll also let you know, listen, don't bother with somebody who gives you a 5% down, because they're not going to do it, because this condo cannot be financed with Fannie Mae. So you can't do 5% down. So you have to advertise your listing that's in this condo, minimal 25% down. So at least you're not wasting time as a listing agent.
How important is family in your life?
Yeah, guys, right now that's a phenomenal. Listen, that and I appreciate that. I appreciate the question. How important is family and family in general? My family, besides God, that's the only reason why I wake up. I wake up every day. As far as waking up to go out and attack the day, help people, it's because of my family. Because I know that when I go out and I work hard for other families, I get to come back and enjoy mine. Because I know I've done everything I could to help that one person. And I'm the type of person that even though I know this client doesn't qualify, I still stay on the phone for an extra 20 minutes, just letting them know what they need to do to qualify in the future. And I know there's other people out there, to each his own. I'm not here to judge anybody, but they'll say, oh, you don't qualify, have a nice day, and they hang up. I don't do that because that's still a person. That's still somebody who wants to have the ability to buy. So I make sure I educate them and advise them, and I'll spend that extra 20 minutes, even though I know nothing's gonna happen out of that. But I spend the extra 20 minutes on being able to explain the reason why. And because they have a family, just like I have a family, and I would want somebody to do that for me. So for me, family is the most important thing. Like I said, I am 7 days a week. I am involved in my business from the moment I wake up. I have text messages at 1 a.m. from clients overseas, even current clients that they'll text me at 11 o'clock at night, 1 a.m, 7 in the morning I wake up, 6 in the morning I wake up, and I already see it, and I'm already on the phone. My main thing is spending time with my family as much as I can. Unfortunately, this business doesn't allow me to, so I take a lot of trips because it forces me, right?
Exactly.
So I go on trips to be able to, hey guys, we're going. Now that my kids are a little older, we have a grandson, it's a little more challenging. We're looking forward to the Keys trip in July. But at the end of the day, the trips is what really I hone in on because we separate ourselves. Even though I'm still working on the trip, I know I have my family here with us and we're either on the boat, we're doing this, we're on a cruise or whatever it's at, but we're there as a family overall. So for me, family is everything. I mean, that's once again, that's the reason why.
It's the reason, yeah. Well, I think it's the
for
main
everybody.
reason you do anything,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Because you want to.
And for me, because everybody could work to a level. I just once again wake up every day to work to a level that I know I could go to sleep knowing I tried my hardest. I made every single call I needed to make, and I do it for my family. Because when that paycheck comes in, that opportunity, I could be able to help buy my daughter a car at 16. She didn't think it was going to happen. And I was able to do that. So those are the blessings for me that allow me to do it. And like anything in life, there's always a trade. And the trade is time. So I do lose a lot of time with my family because I'm not at home at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. I'm pretty much at home at 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. Even at that, I'm still on the phone. So my time at night is maybe 45 minutes to an hour, if that. Because I also wake up early to go to the gym, so I'm trying to be in bed at 10:30, so I can wake up at 5:36 to be able to go to the gym every day and hit, and do things for myself because you have to take care of your body, you have to take care of your health, your mind. So obviously I'm home at 8:39, so obviously I don't have a lot of time with them. So on the weekends, I really try to spend as much time as I can with them overall because they are my life. That's what I do. That's why my kids were born. I tattooed my daughter.
You too.
I tattooed my son.
Oh,
So because they're everything for me as well as my wife, who's my best friend. Been with her once again 26 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
26 years. Actually, the turn of the century, I met her. January 12th, 2000.
Oh,
I met her.
wow.
Yeah. She was at the gym with her mom, and I had always seen her. I said, all right, this is the day I'm going to walk up. I always talk to the mom, her mom. That's how I did it. So I would always talk to the mom. I would ignore her, and I would talk to her mom and say, hey, how you doing? We work out. She'll be right there, and I'll just always say hi to the mom, for weeks. And then around June 12th, her mom didn't go to the gym. She was there by herself. So then I approached her, and I she had a Killian's shirt because I went to Killian. She went to Killian. And I just started talking to her from there. There's a sister. Yes, so it worked out, yeah. But family's everything.
He's a millennium baby. He was born in 2000.
Oh, nice. Right on what day and month?
September 26th.
Nice. 2000. Awesome, man. Yeah.
Yes. So you'll never forget
26.
the age.
Yeah,
because
26. Yeah. We're going to just keep
2000.
adding. Just keep adding up. It'll be 26 this year now, right?
No,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be 26 in September. That's awesome. That's awesome.
What is the most valuable lesson that you can think of that you've learned in this business?
The most valuable lesson is always be forthcoming. Just good news or bad news. Say it no matter what. Because there's a lot of times people want to only give the right answer. I think you just got to give the whole answer and let the other person take it in. Sometimes I always, I don't want to say this because it's not going to look good. Or I don't want to, I don't want to give them this bad news right now. I just say be transparent. I've learned that because at the end of the day, it's always going to come back out at some point or another. So one thing I've always learned is just to stay transparent and be forthcoming and just tell people what it is, good or bad. Whether they're gonna like it or not, doesn't matter. Just at least that's why I can go to sleep at night knowing I was very truthful, forthcoming, transparent to all my clients, realtors, referral partners, and everything. Because when you don't, you're living with that. It's in your head, and then sure enough, 2 days later, hey Alex, you never told me this. Hey Alex, I just found this out. And you know what? It's not worth it.
It's gonna come out
It's gonna
sooner
come
or
out
later.
sooner. Just might as well say it.
Yes.
And that's why when I talk to my realtors and my clients, I always tell them, listen, this can happen, this can happen, this can happen. So what I talked about earlier, expectations, I've learned over the years, just give them the expectations. This good could happen, but this bad can happen. This could happen. Quickly, I want an example, guys, so bear with me. Condos. I always tell, I told this client, this condo's not approved by Fannie Mae. They used to, but the Fannie Mae approval for this condo's expired. This client only qualified, he only had 5% down. I had told him and the realtor, okay, they have reserves, because that's the free information I could get. So I looked at the condo reserves, say they have 10%, they actually have more than 10%, like 20%, so they look really healthy. But I didn't know anything else about the condo, because you have to get a condo questionnaire filled out, and you have to get the master insurance to know if they have sufficient coverage. So it's a process. The part about that though is the buyer, by the time you get that information, they've already spent money on the inspection, the appraisal, the condo questionnaire, and in certain cases, because it could take 30 days for the HOA application, the HOA fee. So this client spent almost $2,000 in all those things. And I had told him at the beginning, and I told the realtor, listen, this can happen. We're gonna go through the process, but it could still get denied by Fannie Mae, and you can't go in with 5%. Unfortunately, what happened, three weeks later, and me fighting, and I fight, denied. Why? Because they were still doing renovations. The roof was fixed, but the plumbing, they couldn't close off for the contractor, because they still had some units that were still doing it. So Fannie Mae denied it, and the client lost $1,800. But once again, I felt, obviously I was very remorseful for him. I'm sorry and everything, because they had obviously the illusion of living there, and they loved the area and everything like that. But I had told them at the beginning. So in me, at least I did my due diligence. Obviously they were upset. But I told them, and in scenarios like that, I already told them. They're actually looking right now for a new one. And I said, I'll take care of the $2,000 for you on the next one. Oh, so wow. On the next property, obviously we're going to look for one that's already approved, so we don't go through that again. So they're looking for one that's already on the approval list from Fannie Mae, so there's no questions. They go in with 5% and that's it. And I told them I'm going to take care of the $2,000, because it's not their fault, it's not my fault, it's not anybody's fault. But you don't want to put them in a position where I don't want to buy because look, I just lost $2,000, and why am I going to buy? So I said, listen, I'll take care of you on the other one. So I'll take care of your $2,000. So they're looking right now. I just actually got a call from the realtor that they have a couple condos that they're looking at right now. So I'm going to run the information. But for me, going back to the question, absolutely. Transparency, just be forthcoming and let the client and the realtor know expectations and what can or can't happen. And I think by that, at the end of the day, if it goes sideways, they knew about it. They knew it could happen. It wasn't a surprise.
Exactly.
Like, you never told me, and all of a sudden 3 weeks later, you denied. What? I didn't know this could happen. So that's why transparency is key.
That's good. I like it. We are hopefully getting a listing sometime soon. I'm sure you can prepare like something for a property that gives you like the scenarios and all that. And
absolutely.
We can do
so
that.
I do open houses. So I have a team. I have a team that would go and to a realtor's house and be there. I have one on Saturday and Sunday. That first and foremost, if I can't make it, I'm always going to be available. So I wouldn't want my listing agent to be able to lose an opportunity. Somebody who walks in the house who's not qualified, not with a lender, they can call me right there. I'll take the application while I'm driving. No, I'm joking. I'll literally have my co-pilot, my wife, or somebody will take an application. We'll get the information either way right then and there, and within a day, if not the same day, we'll run the information and see if they're qualified. If I'm physically there, even better, because I'm actually there introducing myself and potentially trying to get them going. So open house is a big thing for me as well, because it just creates more opportunity for buyers to come in and potentially get a...
Yeah, I love doing that. Hopefully next Saturday.
Awesome.
We'll talk to you for sure.
Awesome, yeah, I'm here for that.
Yeah, what advice would you give a young person at this moment that if they want to get ready to buy their first home?
Great question. I mean, it's never too early to start planning to buy a house. We just closed on somebody who's 18 years old who bought. So for me, it's always credit. Credit, keep your credit high. It's one of those things that you want to make sure that you want to keep your credit score as high as possible and monitor it. Be obsessed with it. Get the credit karmas, get whatever applications you need and work on it, study it. because credit's going to give you so much opportunities in life, not just to even buy a house, just better rates on cars, better rates on things you're going to buy in the future that's credit related. Income obviously is always important because income is what's going to show the bank how much you can pay back. Obviously at 18, 19, 20, depending on your income, you might need to save a little bit more, but that's why getting the information early will help you out. The average income with almost no debts to buy, let's say, a $400,000 house, you need about $80,000. You need to be making about $80,000. And savings, obviously, because those are the three criteria, right? Credit, income, and assets. The savings, how much money you need to save, as much as you can. And when I say that, it's as much as you can because let's say you're short. Let's say you have $20,000 and you need 30. Right now in this market, there's sellers giving out credits.
Right.
So they could actually help you get to those extra $10,000 and now you could buy a house. So I would say as much as you can. Obviously with 5 or 10,000, it's gonna be very challenging to buy. So I would say save as much as you can. Obviously a family can help. You could use 401ks, you could use retirement savings accounts, things like that. Obviously a young person wouldn't have really a good 401k, but still you could use retirement accounts if you have it. But at the end of it, it's all about preparation. And that's why getting in contact with my team and I, we prepare. Even if you're 18, 25, 30, doesn't matter. I have first-time home buyers at 60 years old buying a home. And they're first-time home buyer, never bought a house in their life, always rented. And we assisted them, guide them, and show them what they had to do to be able to purchase a house. And like we talked about at the beginning, you won't know until you ask. You have to ask so you know where you are. And you might not qualify right then and there. That's okay. But you're gonna have the blueprint on knowing what to do to qualify in the future. And then once you have that information, they take it through life. It could take you 10 more years before you can buy a house because you're not making the income, because you haven't saved all that money. Or your credit, you had a bad teenage, you got that one credit card and you wrote it all up and now all of a sudden your credit score is 400 or 500, so you gotta take some time. That's okay. As long as you have a guidance, a blueprint of what you have to do to get your credit score or get your income or get the assets up, you have a plan. And then eventually you work toward that, you'll be a homeowner. Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's great advice. Thank you very much, Alex, for coming. This was very, very enlightening. I'm sure a lot of people are going to get a lot out of it.
I appreciate it.
I look forward to working with you.
Likewise.
And sending you my eager clients.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you, Anna, so much for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure.
course.
Thank you so much for the questions.
Of course.
Awesome, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good
Bye.
Cool.